Hi, I'm Lisa Haydon with Channel 6 Central Kentucky TV Community Focus on Washington County. And we are happy today to have with us Bart Mattingly, who is the FFA advisor. And what else, Bart?
Agriculture teacher at Washington County High School. So I've been there for 6 years now, and we're finishing up the school year up there. And so that's kind of my job title.
And congratulations on being the recipient of the Springfield, Washington County Chamber of Commerce award, the Sidewalk Hall of Fame award.
Right.
And that's quite an honor.
Yes.
Not many people get on that Sidewalk Hall of Fame, Bart.
Right, you're right. I was honored to get that. One day after just hearing word that I was honored with that award, I happened to be down on Cross Main there and just happened to park there by the old courthouse and noticed the names that were on there and took a minute to kind of look over those and was humbled by the very few recipients that have received that, and proud to say that I can be one of those now. So I was glad about that. That was
You're
cool.
among many honored men and women.
That's exactly right.
I hope there's a woman on that sidewalk.
Yes, Roberta is. Roberta was 17. Roberta Hunt was.
Okay, good.
So
yeah.
She was last year's.
Good. And gosh, I didn't mention that, and I just interviewed her today. I should have mentioned that she was on that Sidewalk Hall of Fame.
Right.
So, and now Bart, I think Charlie Haydon presented that honor with the chamber at the banquet that recent evening. And what was it that he indicated was the reason for your receiving this award?
Charlie and I had worked together on several different things. Charlie's active with the Fall Festival, the Sorghum Festival, being a chamber member, and he kind of outreached different community groups and whatnot to help with the Sorghum Shuffle and to help with the kids' games. And so Charlie reached out to me to see if we could make a relationship with our programs, with our FFA program, and get some of those high school kids down on Main Street to playing for the kids' games. And Charlie had a vision that we needed something for the younger children to be involved with on Saturday afternoon of the festival. So from there, a couple evenings, Charlie and myself got together, and my wife got together, and just kind of searched some different games and activities that could hit a few different kids' interest and age groups. Scratched down some notes, and the next thing we know, we had a decent plan that we took to the high school kids, and they were able to modify it and in many cases update it so that it would fit this generation of kids. And we brought back something that Charlie was pretty adamant about, the frog jumping contest.
Oh, I know. I was delighted, Bart. And I was just delighted.
That was something that many of your kids looked forward to, and so
you too.
Right. That my generation and Charlie's and all of your kids were the early '90s. That was a big thing when they had the Sorghum and Tobacco Festival. Was the frog jumping contest. So Charlie was on it about that, and we got some rules together for that. We had the pedal pull for the little tractors and mazes, and it was just really interesting to see how the high school FFA kids interacted with the younger elementary aged kids. We were able to get, my wife was an integral part in getting, she's the Family Resource Center coordinator in the district. And so she works with a lot of the kids and a lot of the teachers in elementary school. So she was able to help advertise the games and get the flyers to different daycares and child cares and kindergarten through about 3rd or 4th grade. We had an awesome turnout. It was an awesome day. And it
even had good weather, I think.
Oh, it was outstanding that day. Yeah. So it was really it was awesome how the whole community came together. And Charlie and I, when it was the day came, we kind of were able to sit back on our hands and watch everybody else kind of do their thing, and everybody had a lot of fun. And one thing I'm proud about of it too, everything was completely free, so it was a true community event.
Yeah.
We weren't soliciting advertisements for any program, and sponsorship wasn't a major factor. It was just something fun, and a lot of times I don't think we see that for kids.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that came about.
Yeah, that's really nice, Bart. That's That's what you said. That's what our a sorghum festival is about. You know, it's about community.
That's right.
And you have lots of other events at that, you know, where people get to participate. You know, you've got I think you had the dog contest, or how was that? The best dressed dog.
Right. They had different
animals.
teams. You know, and I really commend the chamber. I was able to attend a couple meetings where they were planning, and they really were trying to target different demographics of age groups of people. And, you know, I think when you start something for kids and then that gets adults there, when you start hitting, you know, adolescent, teenagers, then that's what it's about.
Yeah,
That really is what it's about.
Yeah. And they still have the baby, and they brought back the baby
contest. Baby contest, right.
And, you know, everybody loves the baby contest.
That's right. That gets grandma and grandpa there, too. And
that's right.
And so that's always a lot of fun. And I really think they do a good job. I oftentimes hear people, you know, say, well, when is the festival? What do they have? And that person usually, that's a pretty good indicator that they haven't been, is when they don't know what's going on, because it's well advertised, well organized. I thought, you know, when they moved it down to the kind of the town square, they had some events going on Friday morning. That, you know, Roberta Hunt, myself, and the other members, Krista Thompson, on the Washington County Fair Board, started a Farm City breakfast about 4 or 5 years ago, and that has really grown to be something.
That has really grown.
That we're proud of.
I just wish you could have that a little later in the morning, Bart.
Right, that's the biggest. That's probably the biggest request that we get from industry. But if you know a good farmer, they're not going to come.
That's right. They're not going to waste. They
breakfast is at daylight for a good farmer. So in that too, just to elaborate a little on that, we want to. When we started that, I guess about 4 years ago, we wanted to find a way to bring business, industry, and agriculture together and do this. And I have seen a lot of that happen. I get, you know, it's one of those things that there's a lot of planning that goes on that people don't see, but I get excited about it the night before and the morning of. And I realize that it is early, but
I think it starts at 7.
It might even. I think the doors open at 6:30. Program starts at 7. It pushes you to get up and get out of bed. So.
Well, it's called what's it called? It's called the
Farm City Breakfast.
Farm City Breakfast, and of course, a lot of our leadership comes, and you know, I unfortunately have been unable to come, but now I'm coming this year.
Yeah, it's something you don't want to miss. It's always the Friday before the Sorghum Festival starts, so the intent is to have a kickoff. I don't. You always have a good speaker. Right. We've had the Commissioner of Ag come. We've got some plans. We try to hit ag and business both. I've been in contact with Mary McCain Courtney, and she has committed for next year's program to talk about Kentucky Proud and talk about sustainability and homegrown foods and families. And she does a Gleaners program to donate to food banks, and she does a lot of cool stuff right in Shelbyville, Kentucky. Yeah, so we're excited to bring her. Hometown girl. We'll have to get her on here and talk about that. Right, and we've got her kind of penciled in as a tentative keynote, and you know, we like I say, I get excited about it, and I like the direction it has gone to just lead us right into the Sorghum Festival every year. Yes, so. It's really good, Bart, and I know you've been instrumental in getting that started. I don't know who helps you, if it's the Farm Bureau. It's right. It's a collaboration. Ms. Roberta Hunt and I kind of sit down and jot down the notes, and then we assemble a committee. Farm Bureau plays an integral part, as in we get Grace Harden comes in, and she kind of helps work out some finer details. Sarah Hill helps. You know, there's a lot of people. I'm going to start mentioning names and miss somebody that folds a program or wraps a piece of dishery or something like that. But there's Krista Thompson comes in and jumps in, and there's just a lot of people that help out with that. And like I say, because you're a member of the farm, Farm Bureau. Well, I am a member of the County Fair Board. The County Fair Board. And then, like I said, the Farm Bureau board always has a representative there. And we try to do it to where we can get different agencies and advocacy groups to come together and just enjoy a good morning. And right. So it's something. Business, I think economic development is part of that. Daniel Carney, maybe, and And I think really the history is going to date back so far that I don't have a lot of information or data on it. But in talking with Pat Clemens, of course, entrepreneur of Clemens Ag Supply, he was explaining to me the first year or two that we had the Farm City Breakfast that the Farm City activities date back to what used to be a festival in itself.
That's right. That's right. That just dawned on me.
There would be a parade, and then they would tie
Farm City Queen and King.
Farm City King and Queen, and I think they would even tie it in with maybe homecoming festivities with a high school, maybe. I'm not sure, but I had worked in other communities. Mercer County has a really nice Farm City Breakfast, and so when I worked over there for 5 or 6 years, it's something I enjoyed. So when I came back home 6 years ago, I thought that's something that there's no reason we're not doing that. So I kicked it around with Roberta and Grace Harden, and they said, "Yeah, that sounds great."
Yeah.
And so it's just
now are they on the? So you're on the farm. I mean, on the
Washington County Fair Board.
Fair Board. They're on that with you then, and cause that's of course a great program that is in a part of the Sorghum Festival.
Right.
So, because you have other things with
right. We're able to, through that, with Kentucky Proud and the Ag Tag endorsements that we get from the license plate donations, we're able to receive a small portion of money to have a Washington County Fair, and it helps a lot of our kids in FFA and 4-H that have different projects that bring in different entries for the fair.
Yeah.
We've been able to secure the Old Louisville store for the past several years during the festival, display those items anywhere from homemaking items to sewing to crafts to lamps, you name it.
Oh,
we can fit it in a category. Flowers,
flower arrangements,
feed crops and field crops and tobacco crops for our kids. And those kids are able to get a small premium for those and a ribbon, and
that's a nice event.
Right. We've been able to get the high school FCCLA on board. They do a lot of the culinary stuff and compete in that. And you know, you say that person says, well, there's not much at the Sorghum Festival. I bet that same person would like to be a culinary judge and come and taste the biscuits and the brownies and all that stuff. But you know, you hear people grumbling, well, there's not as much as there used to be there. And you know, we're always looking for judges and people to compete. And
it takes a lot of volunteers.
Absolutely.
And you need, I mean, it just, and so for those people that say, oh, there's nothing there, well, like you said, come down and judge one of these events or participate in one of the events in some way, and because it does take a community.
Right. And I think that there's so much going on. I mean, this is kind of the continuing saying for today's young adults and parents. There's so many things, ball games and sports, but I also think that it's important for our schools to get involved with the community and the community to get involved with the schools and having that partnership, and that's a great way for schools to really help out with the festival, and then there's something there for all ages, like we said.
I hope we get to go back to having a parade and where the students in school, if you remember, you probably did one of those floats, as I know my children did, and where they would get whatever club did it or whatever class did it, then they would get it, if they won, they would get a little prize money.
Prize, right. I remember being in high school, and each year you would freshmen, sophomores, juniors have floats and do that. And I think we need to get back to there, and that's what I think that what I was saying about getting involved with both. I think that's important, and I think that's something we could easily do here because we've done it before, and I think the kids like it when they do that too.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to keep in mind, and I think you could even pair the homecoming activities at the high school back with the festival and do something like that as well.
That'd be great.
Get people back. Get people in their 20s and 30s that maybe have gone astray. Get them back home for a weekend and just have some good camaraderie and fellowship and
well, that's
pride.
what you would often see for the Sorghum Festival. You would see young people come up. Everybody came back home on Sorghum Festival weekend if they were away at college or if they were they lived elsewhere. Now they would all come home because you'd see all your old friends and you'd see all your family And so that was a great time.
Give them a reason to mark it on their calendar and say, I got to be back in Springfield. So
right.
That's a good point.
And it's good that you're here, Bart, in Springfield, living, because you are married to Jessica Medley, and who is from Washington County. And you've been here, and now you're the ag teacher at the high school, and she is, as you said, the family resource director in the county, and you have
two little boys. Weston is 7 and Kason is 4, so they're getting right involved in the Weston's in 1st grade, so we're getting a taste of what that's like, and so Kason will be there before we know it. And Jesse's is active with her job. It's now that she's there as the coordinator at the youth service center, we're able to partner together on a lot.
You're at the high school at Washington County High School, and is she at the high school too, or
she is home stationed out of the middle school.
Okay.
But yet, just today she was at the high school helping with the program, and her and Debbie McIntosh is stationed out of the high school, and she's often there. Debbie's her assistant. She's often there, kind of helping finalize a program or do something there. So there's no telling where she's at on one day or the other.
Yeah.
Whether it's the middle school or down in the elementary part of the middle school, or
has Barbara Pettis retired?
Barbara is now a regional.
Oh, she's that's right.
I don't know if it'd be regional or direct or a district, but Barbara's moved into the area administration, and then Barbara's.
Yeah.
Jesse's now taking over Barbara's position.
I had forgotten that about Barbara. She had told me that. And so now, Bart, you, in addition to being the ag teacher, you're also the FFA, Future Farmers of America leader.
Right.
Or what's the title for that?
I'm the advisor of that.
The advisor. And so that means you are responsible for all the club activities of FFA, and you have the greenhouse in addition to that. So tell me what is going on with the FFA at the high school.
We have 107 FFA high school members, so that's about
how many?
107.
Wow,
so that's
great, Bart.
That's about 20% of the high school. We get it's a pretty good split between senior, juniors, and freshmen and sophomores. Through that, kids kind of look at different avenues in agriculture, and I explain to kids that if Springfield's a place that they think they want to be, then there's two careers to really consider. I think industry is one of those, and I think agriculture is the other. If you can partner those together somehow, then you can pretty much name your position and name your salary that if you get the education you need. So we like to open up 3-4 doors for students to explore through: plant systems, animal systems, and ag business in the ag education department. In that, they're involved in FFA, which we use as a career development organization, an agriculture advocacy group that promotes premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. If they go into the plant systems pathway, they have the opportunity to work out of our greenhouse. The greenhouse was constructed 2 years ago. Part of those funds were from Kentucky Ag Development Fund, so it's essentially a grant that we applied for that can sometimes work like a cost share program. So we applied for the Kentucky Ag Development Board grant to build a greenhouse. We were awarded a $35,000 grant to build that. Our local school board picked up the rest of the budget on that, and we are now finishing our 3rd season in selling plants out of that greenhouse. We target.
Of course, we did have a greenhouse at the middle school,
right.
Well, which is now the middle school, was the high school.
That's right.
So that greenhouse was in effect for several years.
Right.
I know. I remember Donna Craig doing that, and is that still there at the middle school?
It's still there. Okay. We essentially look at it as what's our next step with that. It was 20 years old, and so over 20 years old actually. So
oh gosh!
It was kind of to the point of we needed to kind of start looking at industrialized equipment. So we operate the greenhouse. It opens in late April, and then it'll continue to be open through the end of the school year. Fully functioned, fully managed, fully operated by the high school kids in the plant system pathway. Those kids are generally juniors and seniors. So in the early part of the spring semester, we look at the plant botany side of things and working with the plants and the biology of the plants, from germination to propagation, and getting the fertilization and dealing with pests and problems there. We do our transplanting there, and then we have to market those products. So we're kind of even coming through the marketing stage. How do we sell this product? How do we sell that product? What's a good marketing scheme? Why, for something like the greenhouse, is the radio an effective tool, and maybe social media is not as effective as what kids might think, and what's the benefits of social media marketing? And so we're kind of coming out of that and right into our sales of the greenhouse. We expect this weekend, being Mother's Day, to be an awesome weekend to sell baskets and tomato plants, pepper plants.
Do you have any herbs?
We don't have any herbs this year. We have in the past we did some oregano and thyme and some different things. This year we stayed with tomatoes and peppers, and then several different flowering plants. So we've had connections with different churches that will buy one flower for each mother, and so we're able to kind of support those communities, clubs as well. We work with the elementary school teachers so that they can buy little plants to give to their kids, to give to mom, and try to cut those as cheap as we can so that the price isn't pushed back onto the teacher or the kids. And it's really, my favorite part of it is this time of year when you get the 15, 16, 14-year-old high school kid interacting with the adult, and they don't have their cell phone, and there's nothing to type. It's full verbal communication and sales skills, and then the kid gets to express what they've learned, and they like to do that a lot of times, and they like to tell what plant is good for shade or what plant is good for full sun, and they like to show you what they've learned. And the good thing is it's the traditional verbal communication skills that sometimes the kids need to have. So
they need them more than they think.
Right. So we're kind of finishing that up. We are everything gets sold pretty early in May, and then through Mother's Day we can sell hundreds of baskets, the Saturday before Mother's Day, and so we encourage people to come early and come often. So
that's a good thing. And you all, of course, participated in the Green Festival, and you were at that and sowed plants.
Right. And that's a lot of name recognition and just getting out there and seeing what other people do, and I think that's beyond itself, that festival is amazing too, that a lot of people come out for. So.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And now, Bart, tell me, you mentioned two other things, so that the students, in addition to the plant aspect, you talked about the farm, what was that?
We have two other pathways at the high school that we try to provide for students in terms of they get the choice of these three, and sometimes they can even go through two of the three programs. We've got an ag business program that prepares students for careers in sales, prepares students for careers in business-oriented and communication programs through agriculture. This year's senior class, I have, there are 15 four-year FFA members graduating from us. And so out of that 15, I would say 5 to 7 of them are entertaining careers in ag business, whether it's ag education, whether it's agricultural agents and extension possibly, or ag communications. Business is always a popular venture in lending and finance. We have kids that are interested in that. So my ag business classes are generally are pretty full with students that are business-oriented and business-minded.
If they start their own agriculture business, they need those business skills.
And it's also targeted at, a lot of the kids like that aren't even traditional ag kids. They might be kids that just want to learn about taxes and finance and mortgaging and real estate and things of that sort. So that's an avenue that's pretty popular with kids. And then one of our more traditional pathways is animal science at the high school. That deals with livestock, cattle, horses, sheep, and goats. We talk a lot about that. Roberta and I have the annual Washington County Livestock Judging Contest, which brings a lot of people to our community for that every spring. So the kids like that and like to work with animals. And
probably a lot of those are in 4-H as well as FFA, because they get to show their cows and
show their animals and judge and evaluate. So that's a lot of opportunity, and that sometimes might even have the kid that says I'm going to go into industry, but I'd also like to have a herd of 15 or 20 cows, and how do I need to take care of that, and nutrient management, and that's oftentimes the part-time farmer, like myself. The night and weekend farmer.
That's just what I was going to ask you, Bart. I thought you were still farming because your father farmed, and so do you farm with your dad, Mike? And
yes, we farm. We have beef cattle. I raise tobacco, small amount of field crops, and do that. It's something I enjoy doing. To me, it's also in some ways kind of professional development because I've got to learning myself on how to take care of that. So
there's more to taking care of animals and your land and things that people realize
You're
sometimes.
right.
That you can't just put that cow out in the field and forget about it.
Absolutely. You got to make ends meet, and I do more than my wife would probably want me to get involved in. We don't have to look for things to do around the farm because we stay pretty busy doing that. But it's something that I've grown up doing. I can remember being a small kid and pushing the little tractors around and planting the farm.
I can remember you out there. I think Ben might have gone out there with you a time or two.
Probably so.
And when you were raising tobacco. And whatever you did with it, cut it or stripped it or whatever at the time,
Right, and at that point in time, it was a huge part of Washington County. I mean, there's a lot of older farms that have been paid for through the production of tobacco in our community, and there's fewer and fewer producers of it. But I guess I enjoy the challenge, and we're going to try it again this year and see how it goes.
Yeah, well, good. Well, Bart, you're just a busy person.
Well,
with those two young boys, they're probably out on the farm with you in the evening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like you were with your dad.
Right, that's exactly.
And your mother, Cheryl, she's at the extension office.
She's been
so there. You all have a long a heritage of farming and agriculture opportunities. And,
that's right. That's right.
So I'm just glad that you are right here in our community and working on those things. That's why they put you in the in the Chamber of Commerce Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well.
So
it's an honor.
Yeah.
So I appreciate Washington County, and hopefully we can keep these ideas moving on, and with help from people like the Chamber and Charlie and the young folks that get involved, I think it's a great place to be.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being involved, and thank you for being here today and taking the time.
Thanks for having me.